Hello everyone and welcome to the video. Today I've got something pretty exciting to talk about. Recently, I found out that BitLife Studios actually has a Twitter, and so I decided to check it out. And when I looked through the tweets, I found that he's been posting leaks for Immortal Mantis 2, and there's quite a few of them. Now, they are in Portuguese, but using Google Translate, I can get a pretty good idea of what they say. So basically, these might not be exact translations, but they should still be pretty close. So let's go through them. I'm going to start with the oldest leak and work my way up. Now, I actually knew about this first one, which is the playable intro for the game. For those of you who don't know, BitLife Studio wants the game to be playable for everyone, even if they haven't played the first game. So in order to do that, there's going to be a playable intro that goes over the story of the first game. Here is our first look. The title translates to Immortal Mantis Sequel, Playable Intro, Read Description, and the description translates to, despite being a direct sequel to the first game, this project aims to be understandable even by those who have never played Immortal Mantis. For this, I am developing a playable intro that will explain everything that is relevant to understand what will come next in the game. The video content does not represent the full intro, there is still more content and more story in development. While in the first game, there were only a few images with text as an intro. This time, I decided to do something less passive from the player's point of view. I think I managed to convey the feelings I intended despite the extremely simplified graphics. In the video, the menu is in a very raw state. Only the start and credits button work. Besides not having any art, but I know I'm on the right path despite everything. So, here it is. So of course we got the logo. And then we start with the menu. There's not really anything special here, like anything super interesting. You know, we've got credits here crediting the engine and the music used. And then after that, it begins. I assume that's his introduction. So right off the bat, you can see we've got Akin's house, we've got the gate, and all that stuff, and then I assume this is Akin. This says, on Akin's first night in his new home. So it seems like we're controlling this character. So we go into the house, and that's a masked maniac appeared. So then we're inside. You can see this is one of the chase scenes that BitLife Studio was talking about. And this is what happens if we get caught. We die. And then it says, try again. But if we get the key and don't get caught, then we make it out of the house. And into the outside, which then leads to the cornfield. We then go into the shed type of shack thing. I'm still not really sure what to call it. But you can see right there, there's the dagger surrounded by the barrier. This text says, while trying to escape, Akin found an ancient ritual dagger. The dagger was shrouded in a barrier of light, as if to protect it. When touching it, the barrier disappeared. There goes the barrier. Without realizing it, Akin freed an ancient entity from its prison. Now, I find that interesting because it makes it sound like that barrier around the knife was keeping, like, Dad encased in it. So Dad was, like, trapped inside of that barrier, which is very interesting because that would seem to imply that Dad is connected to the dagger in some way. It doesn't necessarily rule out my theory that he's a soul, because who knows how souls would work in this universe, but it's definitely interesting. Fuyuki, who would later come to be known as Mantis, had a close relationship with the creature. The trust between the two could finally be sealed through the pact. And then we see the moment when Mantis stabs himself. And that's the end of the playable intro. Or at least, the first part of it. The next leak is another part of the playable introduction. This one is pretty surprising, and there's something that I'm not a huge fan of that I'll talk about afterwards. The caption translates to, "Piece of the introduction of Immortal Mantis 2. Many things without proper polishing, visual effects, and with a bug in the dialogue, but I think it's getting interesting. Contains spoilers." So we can see we've got Fuyuki, or Mantis, and his mother, and the text says, "Fuyuki was sad, but his mother's presence still comforted him." We then see her go over to this family, which is the Petrovs. However, in a short time, her mother married a lawyer who helped her with questions about the inheritance left by her husband. His mother was so focused on pleasing her new family that she ended up leaving her son behind. Ivan, his stepfather, didn't like Fuyuki, and secretly he told his real intentions. "All this money is too much to ignore. Soon I will disappear with your father's inheritance. You and your mother disgust me." This was the perfect scenario for the entity to approach the boy. It didn't take long for him to start doing things under its influence. And then we see something extremely interesting and, sad, which is Mantis killing his stepsister. And I think when I did the math, he was like 11 at the time or something. But that's very interesting. I'll show this in a second. But it's very interesting because based on this, it seems like Mantis isn't doing this because he's, a bad guy or because, the trauma and whatever has caused him to lash out. He's doing this under the influence of Dad. So it seems like Dad is the reason he's doing these bad things. So in theory, if we were to eliminate Dad, we could save Mantis without him dying. So, going back to my sort of theory about this game, that the end goal is going to be to use the dagger to kill Mantis because it's the only thing that can hurt him. Maybe if we were able to destroy the dagger or something, since Dad seems to be connected to it, maybe that could stop Dad. Also, I just thought of this right now. I didn't even write this in the script, but this could be really cool. If it would be cool because the first game had 2 endings. And if this second game is the end of this storyline and there's not going to be a third game, it could be cool for there to be a good and a bad ending, where the good ending is, there could even be more than 2 endings, but the good ending could be where you find a way to eliminate Dad or the entity or whatever you want to call it, and then that frees Fuyuki and he's able to go back to normal. And then the bad ending is where you either kill Mantis, there could be a bad ending where you get killed by Mantis, good and bad endings. I think that could be pretty cool. But anyways, this is Mantis killing his stepsister. He takes the knife, and I counted, and I think it was he stabs her 52 times. So I'm not going to show the whole thing, because that's a lot of stabs. You can see there's still 20 seconds left of stabs. But anyways, that is that. Now, I'm going to start with the positives. First of all, I think it all visually looks great, and I like the way the story is told. However, there is one big issue that I have with this. This stuff about Mantis' stepfather abusing him and only wanting the money is never talked about in the first game. This is entirely new information. And I feel like the introduction should just be for covering the information present in the first game. So I think this information should be given later in the game. It could be a flashback, or however else you want to do it, but I personally don't think new information should be in the intro. I think it'll be fine if you do keep it in the intro, but my recommendation is that it gets put somewhere else in the game. Next, we have another piece of the playable intro. This is the last part we've been shown, and it's a lot shorter than the others. The first text says, Akin managed to call the police, but ended up dead anyways. And we can see Akin getting killed by Mantis. The policeman was no luckier than him. And that's it. This one was really short, so there's not a lot to say, but there was nothing wrong with it as far as I'm concerned. I also like how this area looks with the gate and stuff. Next, we have our first image from the actual game. The caption translates to "Working on the setting for Immortal Mantis 2." This appears to be a police station, so this is probably a scene where we play as Sergei. We have seen this picture before, but there's one big difference here, which is the characters. This is our first look at the character design, and it looks pretty good. Also, based on the number of characters, it looks like there will be NPCs or characters we can interact with, which is pretty cool because that wasn't in the first game. I can definitely see a lot of improvements since the first game. The next image is captioned "Another appetizer from Immortal Mantis 2." I have no idea if that was translated correctly, but that's what Google Translate said. This is our first look at Mantis' new design, and it looks really good. If you compare this to the first game, it's a huge improvement, and it looks really nice. Honestly, just in general, I would recommend going back and if you have the game, like playing the game, or just watching one of my streams playing the game and looking at that and then comparing it to some of these images. Like the difference is crazy. It looks so good. Um the house also looks really good. Just everything is looking great. We can also see that there's some sort of locked cabinet thing, so that might be a puzzle. This video is captioned "Mantis 2 at full steam." Now, right off the bat, we get to see more of the house from before. Now it appears to be some sort of living room. We've got a door that's probably the front door, a hallway here, a door here. Alternatively, this might be the front door, and these are both hallways going to rooms. But there's also a hallway here, which could be the front door. Honestly, there's a lot of options. So watching the video, Mantis goes up to a bookshelf. And we can see all kinds of stuff. 1B, 1C, 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, 3C. And that repeats for all of these. It appears to be the same house as before. Once again, it looks really good, and there's some very noticeable improvements. It seems like this bookshelf might be some sort of puzzle or something. Also, BitLife Studio said the thing happening in the house is a big spoiler, so it's clearly something important. The last leak, as of now, is a video captioned, "I hope never again does a puzzle for my games keep a person stuck for 30 minutes. I assume the caption's referring to the painting puzzle from the last game. So you can see some sort of, like, shape puzzle, where we fail, the alarm goes off, this character appears through this door, has a little, like, notices us, and then leaves. And then a screen shows up that says "try again." So, it seems like it's the same house that we've been seeing. And there's a few noticeable things here. First of all, it looks really good. Like, I'm very impressed. In fact, I was so impressed that I made a Twitter account just so I could reply to the tweet showing this. If you want to follow it, it's _Splendy_, but I have no idea if I'll post much. The character animations look really good. I like when this character, enters and then leaves. I think it looks pretty nice. And also, Mantis's character animation is really cool. And third of all, it looks like some sort of puzzle where we've got these shapes, and we have, like, a limited number of tries to get some kind of code right to open a safe. I'm not quite sure if this is a safe, but it seems to be. Also, it looks like we have 3 tries. If we fail 3 times, the alarm goes off. And considering how there's a 1, 2, and 3 here, I'm wondering if it might pair up with the bookshelf. Because it's got 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, 3C. So this could be 1, 2, 3, and this could be A, B, C. And maybe you do something with the books where the order you see, tells you what shape to do or something. That's just a guess. But that's all the leaks so far. I won't be making a video for every leak, but as they build up, there will eventually be enough for another video. Immortal Mantis and BitLife Studios' Twitter will be linked in the description of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and are as excited for the game as I am, and if you haven't already, make sure to check out my theory about who Dad is. But that's everything. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, goodbye.